film and acting was my first love before even music. So I hope to inspire people. I hope to, yeah, just be an inspiration to many different talents out there that they don't have to stick to one thing. Like we can wear different hats and we can do it and execute it excellently. So that would be what I would love to achieve. We've done a premiere in London, we did in New York, and um, what was so fascinating is that even though it's, I would say, an African story by Africans, it still had a global message, and it still resonated with African Americans, with white people, with people that weren't even of African descent. So it's a powerful movie, and I think that we should all be proud that we are telling our story ourselves.
Yes, principal photography for the film took about 14 days, um, 14 long and hard days, and we shot in Cape Coast, Ghana mainly, with some small pickups in Accra, but those didn't involve cast.
Although it's called Water and Garri, our tagline is "There's no place like home." And there's no place like home means a lot, right? We all say it often. We all say it every time I come back home. I'm like, there's no place like home, right? And homegrown will always be the way to shift the needle, just because that's the legacy, that's the generational change that you want to see, that's the generational shift that you want to see. And for us to create something global and package something that is ready was always the vision, no problem. But then to actually unite the local talent and let them also know that they don't have to sit on any local table. There's one table that we should all be on, which is the big leagues. This is, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's Bollywood, whether it's Nollywood, we want this product to stand out in multiple countries. And we know by God's grace, as we continue to all dream, each one of us in this community, in this industry, will finally break down that needle where it's not just about being a category of any sort. But it was important because, Tiwa Savage herself is Nigerian. Her music is incredible. But, she also wanted to, as a female, empower herself, and also as a leader herself. Everybody complains all the time of what they want to change. But, okay, what are you going to do about it? And that's why we decided to invest in our own selves with this project. We put our money, we only shopped it after it was done. And that was because we also didn't want to give ourselves any excuse. We wanted to just do what we felt was true to the art and be able to say this is what happens when people like us can come together. And so we're hoping people get inspired by it and allowed to see others that, and not only just Nigerian. When I say local talent as well, there was amazing talent from Ghana. West Africa is a beautiful place. We've competed enough on jollof rice. It's time to unite. It's time to take advantage of our coast and do some incredible work together. And I think Water and Garri is a project that would also stand to that testimony of what communities, besides just the cast, the crew, the support systems, the families that united through this, the villages that we were able to support and support us right back on this project, shows that we should always take advantage of our own continent, because we're all brothers and sisters, we're just neighbors, right? So yeah, we're excited, we're proud, and we're hoping this would inspire and continue to inspire us to do more together.
Music videos is the best training ground. We've done so many of them, and I got to collaborate with great cinematographers and colorists and just understand, how I like black skin to come across, how I like my images to come across. So, going into film, I wouldn't say we did anything different. We kept the same sensibilities. I still like things to look a certain way. And, I was lucky to work with an amazing cinematographer. His name's Camilo Monsalva. And a wonderful colorist named Ana Escorce. And together we crafted this look, very rich, vibrant, yet, not oversaturated, but something that makes you feel something, even when we're grading, when we're lighting, when we're watching the playback on set, or even just the image as we look through, we're just making sure that it gives a feeling, and that's the main thing we're always looking for. Once you get to the basic level of proficiency, it's how can you now, add your creativity and art on top of that, but also add, meaning through your lighting and through your imagery and through the way you move the camera and all of these things. So for me, it was again, a natural progression using the sensibilities that we've learned throughout our experience with JM Films to create, to bring, beauty to the images in this movie.
Knowing what you've done, I always say, economies will always go through highs and lows, right? So, never make an excuse for a value. It should be something that you're happy to, have as a price tag. And that's obviously a metaphor as well, in the sense that, we went around to a couple of platforms. We knew exactly what the film was and what it was going to represent, first of all, from a cultural standpoint, but also what we shot in terms of the quality of what we shot and the storyline as well, and also the marketability factors, right? You have Meiji Alabi, who's a Grammy Award winning, director, who's actually for venturing now into feature film. You have Tiwa Savage, who is arguably one of the most decorated, awarded musical sort of powerhouses in Africa. And so coming together on the table to negotiate meant that we knew our statistics. Statistics don't lie, the numbers don't lie. We had to do our research on every aspect to what we felt was marketable about the film. We knew the global look we wanted, because we've always been that for the musical side of things. We knew how we were able to contribute from a global perspective into the musical growth. When it works, we worked with the likes of Tiwa herself, Asha, Burna Boy, Wiz, Davido, everybody, and I don't want to, put that in any order whatsoever. The point is that we've been doing this for over 10 years now, and we were at the cusp of that sort of burst. And so knowing what that pop feels, meant that coming into this, we couldn't settle for any less, right? And then, you take into, obviously, context of what's the market, right? The market of this film is not just a local African. It's an African in diaspora. It's a Black American. It's a Black anywhere in the world. It's a non-African. It's a white person. It's a, Chinese person, Asian, whatever. Like, the idea is that the storyline, love, betrayal, friendship, nostalgia of, home, everyone has had to sometimes sacrifice something.
We always knew Tiwa was going to be Aisha, our lead. And, I'd been told by some friends, this guy, Andrew Yao Bunting was just incredible. I checked him out. And, it was actually the writer, Comfort Emmanuel, who actually gave me the heads up to have a look at Andrew. And then once I saw him, we knew that, he was the man, and then it was only up to the chemistry, and it was kind of what we were talking about. We had to test the chemistry out, so we ended up testing it out really quickly, and we shot one of the heated scenes on the first day. So, yeah, and it was and they smashed it. They really got on, and once I saw that they were good, then it was just about the rest of the cast, and we were thankful that Jemima was also another shoe-in. She was also a reference from somebody, and I had checked her out and said, oh, she's perfect. She has the right energy, and again, the chemistry with her and Tiwa was incredible. And then Mike is Mike. We already know. We know what he can do. He's a superstar. So he came through. He was actually on set for some of the shortest time periods, but it was very impactful, his moments. And I was super thankful with everybody in Ghana. Was because I had liked the scenery when I went to visit. That's the truth, and I really loved the feeling the town gave me. It actually felt like the where we situated the story. So when I was writing. When we were writing the story, when we were coming up with the story, it felt this Cape Coast had the texture, the color, the vibrancy of East Side, which is where the film takes place. So for me, being able to shoot there, bringing everybody out there, it was a very peaceful and quiet town. And so we kind of took over the city. Everybody was super excited. They were seeing Tiwa. They were watching us, drive around. People were chasing the car, and it was fun. It was the whole crew came out there. It was like a family. Yeah, we were thankful, and obviously Cape Coast is a historical place too. So for us, being able to go there, shoot something meaningful, and take people back home in a way, because a place called "There's No Place Like Home" is a tagline of the film. It's not necessarily Nigeria or Ghana. East Side is just a mixed place. It's an African place.
I would say family, because I think there's a very strong presence of relationship with family in the film, and there's also relationship with like friends and your community where you grew up. So those would be like the most prominent for me. Because my character, I played brother to Aisha's character, and like that was my primary assignment, looking out for her, and like to get to like family was like the first thing that was on my mind all the time about like the work and the film in general.
I think one of the major conversations I had with Meiji was how he wanted me to play Stephanie, because she's someone. How do I say this without giving too much away? She had suffered a loss that should have sort of dictated her personality, but what we see her as is different. I think we only even see register that okay, she's grieving in one scene. For the rest of it, she's like in all my interviews, I've said she's the ray of like sunshine. She's the happy-go-lucky one in the film, and that was something I was able to do from conversing with the director to know how he wanted her to be played. He didn't want her to be downcast. He didn't want her to be sad. It was too cliche. Obviously, okay, somebody has died. We expect her to be sad in all her sins, crying even. But he didn't want that, and I like that. You know, I was happy to play in a different way, and so we pretty much had to create a personality for her, which helped in how I played her, in rendering my lines, in my mannerisms, in my gestures, in how I interacted with other people. There were one or two ad libs as well, in one or two scenes, ad libs that director liked and we kept. And I was only able to do those ad libs because I had a clear picture of what he wanted me to play her as, and we were very much on the same page. Yeah, and that was very helpful. Everything Mike said as well, having, you know, the basic theme of this is about family, you know, she's coming back home. Aisha came back home. Is this TMI? Aisha came back home for Stephanie. I don't know. So just seeing that, you know, she'd make such a sacrifice for her played a role as well into why that bond was very important to be played in a way that was obvious that these two people love each other. Yeah, and it was very helpful having a conversation with both director. I had a conversation with Comfort as well, one of the writers. I had a conversation with Tiwa. So just talking to all the many people who were part of the creation of Stephanie. It was important to touch base with everyone to see what they had in mind when she was being birthed, and that definitely helped me in becoming Stephanie.
But with a lot of the darker parts of the human experience, you know. He dealt with loss, he dealt with betrayal, he dealt with a yearning for more, but not being able to kind of just grasp it. It's always out of reach. And I feel like those are things that we experience at different stages of our life, you know. So I don't think that, you know, the emotional center of my character wasn't too hard to kind of delve into. The challenge for me was the outward expression of somebody like Kay, somebody like my character, from where he grew up. It was a bit out of my scope of knowledge, but I had an amazing director who had because he had been to Cape Coast before, and he kind of he scoped the area, and he met a few people. So when we got on set, he linked me with one of the guys that was very similar to Kay in the community. And I spent a day with him trying to just see what his life was like. And then I had a mixture of inspirations from things like Poetic Justice, Guava Island, just kind of this. I don't want to say too much to give it away, but he is, at heart, he's a good guy, right? He's got good intentions, but as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So, yeah, that was an interesting experience, but Meji made it a lot easier. Having spoken with Comfort as well, like they were able to kind of just give me a deeper sense of who the character was, what his motivations were, and then that just made it a lot easier to bring it out. You know, I don't know if it's nature or nurture, but you know, you're dealt certain deck of cards, and with that, you have to make certain decisions. And coming from a place of, I want to say, lack, or a place of, I don't want to say poverty, but you know, a place where you've got it's almost like a jungle, shark eat shark world. You're imbibed with that culture, and so, you know, all stereotypes have a through line, because there are certain things that are associated with, you know, growing up in a place like the slums. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm just trailing off right now.
Not easy. It's not smooth. It doesn't flow always like water. You know, you have to hustle. Somewhere you have to push. You know, you have to make the love work. You have to get gritty, and that's what Garri is. So,
And Nigeria has to be kind Sorry, Garri. Right, yeah, it has to be Garri. Yeah, you to different people again, like that would mean different things. But yeah, I feel like at the essence of it, we can all agree that it's Garri.
Love is water. Because you don't get enemy. Acting. Oof. It's a mixture of both, you know. But acting in Nigeria is mostly Gary. Like, I've seen the craziest obstacles. You wake up and you say, I covered this shoot with the blood of Jesus, nothing will go wrong. And the things you don't even think can happen, that can go wrong, trust me, they happen. Oh yeah, more often than you would like. So yeah, Gary.
It's quite deep. And it's only really as deep as you're willing to wade into, you know. So I feel like romance is water. Yeah. You know the funny thing? I have a very strong affinity to water. Ooh. He didn't say from where, just jollof. Just the jollof as an idea. Jollof rice as an idea. Jollof rice. Jollof. It's neither, man. But that's water. In that case, that's water. Water is life. Yeah, jollof is water because water is life. Yeah, yeah.